Hi there, this is Ranjit, and in this video I'm going to share my raw experience of moving from the MacBook Air, which I had purchased in 2013, and this had 4 gigabytes of RAM and a Core i5 processor. I've been using this now for almost 4 years, and I purchased the MacBook Pro 13-inch recently with the touch bar. And it's been almost 2 weeks, so I just wanted to quickly share my raw impressions, because still people do ask me how's the MacBook Air now, and the price difference between the MacBook Pro, specifically the touch bar, and the MacBook Air is still huge in India. So I'm going to share my experience, how it was. Been using it for now almost 2 weeks. And first let's talk about the keyboard. The keyboard is vastly different between the MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro new one. The new MacBook Pro 13-inch and even the 15-inch have that silly butterfly type mechanism like Apple calls, but trust me, it's just not that good. This one has the touch bar, so I can just touch and unlock like the iPhone. But the keyboard is bad. For example, let me open something where I can type text. Yeah. So as you can see, whenever you type, it makes a lot of noise, and the key travel is also not that good. Many people were praising this keyboard, but even after 2 weeks, I don't like the keyboard. And the keyboard on the MacBook Air is far better. As you can see, when you type on it, it gives a lot more comfortable feel compared to the MacBook Pro's keyboard. On the MacBook Pro, you feel like you're typing on a hard surface rather than the keyboard. So there is no travel on it. And even after 2 weeks, I simply don't like the keyboard on this one. Next thing is regarding the weight. Many publications have said that the MacBook Air and this new MacBook Pro 13-inch weigh almost the same. Yes, technically on paper, it's the same. But the thing is that the new MacBook Pro 13-inch is slightly smaller in size compared to the Air. Hence, it's a lot more dense. And whenever you hold it like this on a single hand like this, you immediately feel that this MacBook Pro 13-inch has slightly more weight compared to the MacBook Air. For example, the MacBook Air, if I just keep it in my hand like this, it's a lot more comfortable than the MacBook Pro. It's not a huge difference. In terms of specification, the new MacBook Pro weighs 1.37 kilograms and the MacBook Air is 1.35. But it just feels a lot more dense because it's a little bit smaller and it packs in a lot more stuff. But if you put it in the backpack, that's how you're going to use, then I don't notice the weight difference. Next thing is this MacBook Pro 13-inch comes in 2 variants. One is a regular one without this touch bar that you see. With the touch bar, you also get the Touch ID. So for example, the Mac is locked now. I can just tap my finger and it will unlock. So we have that touch bar, which is sort of case sensitive. For example, if you use Apple apps, the content on that changes and you can use it. But to be frank, it's been almost 2 weeks and I don't use the touch bar that much. Yes, I like the Touch ID, but just the touch bar, I can live without it. So there is a version of the MacBook Pro without the touch bar that costs significantly less. In India, anywhere between about 20,000 to 18,000 rupees less. But with that version, Apple has again done a silly thing. They have, it's a lower clock processor. The one with the, non-touch bar is still a Core i5 processor, but that is clocked at 2 gigahertz. Whereas this one, the one that I'm using, is clocked at 2.9 gigahertz. And this has 4 USB Type-C ports. The other one has just 2 USB ports. So again, if you're a normal user, it won't matter, I would say. But I specifically got this MacBook Pro because lately I've been traveling a lot and I've been doing my editing on the MacBook Air, which was not that great. And this is specifically I got for editing on the go. And as this, touch bar version is clocked higher at 2.9 gigahertz, definitely it helps for video editing. So if you're not doing very heavy tasks, I don't see the touch bar as a huge selling point. And in India specifically, the price gap is almost 20,000 for the non-touch bar and the touch bar model. Even in US, now the price gap has increased because Apple has dropped the price on the non-touch bar model, and the price difference is quite a bit significant there even in US. So again, if you are thinking that touch bar would be a decision. Frankly speaking, in the past 2 weeks, I haven't used the touch bar that much. And if it was not there, I wouldn't have missed it. Next, moving to the speakers, definitely the speakers are louder on this new MacBook Pro 13-inch compared to the MacBook Air. But again, the speakers on the MacBook Air were also decent, so not a big deal, but definitely this one is louder. And biggest difference personally for me is in terms of the screen quality. The MacBook Air, I would say, does not have a great screen. As you can see, this is the lock screen. If I tilt the computer left or right, it's going to fade away very quickly, and the screen quality is not that great. But on this MacBook Pro 13-inch, the screen quality is great. It's a Retina screen, and immediately you'll notice the screen quality. Even though right now it's not on a very high brightness, you can see the quality of the screen is excellent on this one, and it can go actually a lot brighter compared to the MacBook Air in terms of screen quality. So if you're doing critical work where accuracy of colors and screen quality is a high priority, for example, I mainly got this for doing video editing, then I feel the new MacBook Pro might be a better bet. This was one of the biggest reasons for me, because I do video editing on the MacBook Air, though I could edit the videos, but the screen quality was simply not that great. So if screen quality is your high priority, then definitely the MacBook Pro 13-inch wins. Next is the trackpad. Again, the trackpad even on the MacBook Air was fabulous. It's a multi-touch trackpad, and it's a good sized trackpad. As you can see, it's not that big, not that small, and I didn't have any problems with this trackpad. Now on the new MacBook Pros, specifically this is the 13-inch, the trackpad, as you can see, has been increased quite a bit. And this is still a multi-touch trackpad, but this one also has force touch. To be frank, many people were making a lot of fuss about this trackpad being so big, and I didn't feel it. I didn't get any accidental touches. If you touch this trackpad also and type, nothing happens. I'm not using the force touch that much, to be frank. So in terms of trackpad, I have no issues. The trackpad works fine. And again, no issues regarding that accidental touches that many people were talking about. Now moving to the ports on the new MacBook Pro 13-inch, it's a disaster. On the MacBook Air, let's first talk about the MacBook Air. The MacBook Air had this SD card slot, which is great for people like me who do video editing. We have a USB port, so you can easily attach pen drives and other stuff, and also a Thunderbolt port. And on this end, power, again one more USB port, and this is for audio. But on the new one, 13-inch Pro, Touch Bar 1, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 just USB Type-C ports. These are Thunderbolt compatible, and you have nothing. So you have to have some dongles to make it work, because trust me guys, not every accessory right now is USB Type-C. So you would end up buying a couple of dongles to make it work, and I did actually. I did purchase one of this USB Type-C to USB Type-A dongle because I had other accessories like microphones and SD card readers which were USB Type-A. So I purchased this, but again, I would say don't buy this from Apple, because this one costed me 1800 rupees. Way too expensive. For example, I also have the Galaxy S8, if you guys don't, and in the Galaxy S8, that also has a USB Type-C port, and Samsung bundles this adapter for free, and this has been working perfectly with the new MacBook Pro 13. So if you have an adapter like this, just use it, it works. As the new MacBook Pro does not have the SD card reader, and that is important for a person like me who does video editing, I purchased this one, a generic, as you can see, it's a drive. One end you have the normal USB, and the other end we have the USB Type-C, and this is also working great with the new MacBook Pro. You have an SD card reader and it works great. I think so I purchased this one for just about 700 rupees or something like that. I'll have a link for this one. So again, don't purchase those super expensive accessories that Apple is selling. Third-party ones work fine like this. So save your money. Apple is charging a bomb for those USB Type-C accessories. One thing I like about the USB Type-C is that this one you can actually charge by your power bank or even via your mobile phone. For example, I charged it with the Samsung Galaxy S8 charger because it's a USB Type-C, and that works. Yes, it will take a lot more time, but it works. And that also helps because now I don't have to take the MacBook Pro's charger in my bag when I'm traveling. So that reduces the weight, and that works. Now coming to the video editing and the performance of the new MacBook Pro. Frankly speaking, in day-to-day tasks, I did not find a huge difference. For example, I mean, while you're just browsing the web, replying via tweets, email and stuff, you won't find a huge difference in the performance between the MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro. Once I started doing heavy tasks, that is video editing via Final Cut Pro X, then I noticed the difference. The video editing was a lot more smoother on this MacBook Pro 13-inch compared to the MacBook Air. Don't get me wrong, even with the MacBook Air I could do editing, but it was a lot more smoother on this one. But one thing that I noticed is that in regular usage, this MacBook Pro 13-inch never used to get heated up. But once I started using Final Cut, for example, I was in Goa and I posted one of the videos from there, and it did my entire editing on this one. The back gets actually very, very, very warm. In regular usage, no issues, but if you are heavily pushing it, it really gets warm. Now moving to the battery life between these two. Apple claims that you should get about 11 to 12 hours of battery life on this MacBook Air, as this is pretty old now. I got it in 2013, so it's almost 4-year-old machine. These days I get a battery life average between 7 to 8 hours based on what I'm doing. That is regular stuff, just browsing and stuff. If you do heavy stuff like video editing, obviously the battery tanks. In terms of battery life of this on this new MacBook 13-inch, the Touch Bar variant, Apple claims a battery life of about 10 hours, and on this one also I'm getting a battery life between 7 to 8 hours based on what I'm doing. This is with regular work, but if I'm doing just heavy video editing, it tanks down to about 3 to 3.5 hours. So that is regarding the battery life. In regular usage, I didn't find a huge difference, but yeah, the MacBook Air might get you slightly better battery life. So as you can see, it was not a drastic, difference in terms of performance from the MacBook Air to the MacBook Pro. But again, as I told you, my needs were particularly because of the video editing and the screen. That is the reason I went with this one. And specifically, I don't care about the touch bar, but I went with the touch bar because the touch bar version is clocked higher at 2.9 gigahertz compared to the non-touch bar version of the MacBook Pro that is clocked at 2 gigahertz. So I would say, if you want a MacBook Air in 2017, I feel still it's a good machine because the new MacBook Air that you get is clocked slightly higher than this one. I think so. This was clocked at 1.4 gigahertz. The new ones are clocked slightly higher, and they come with 8 gigabytes of RAM. This one has just 4 gigabytes of RAM. So I still feel the MacBook Air, as of now, even in 2017, is a good machine. But again, it's not for people for whom color accuracy is very important, because as I mentioned earlier, the screen quality on this one in terms of color accuracy, that is simply not that great. That's what I have noticed. So again, you have to decide, and if you're going to use your machine very heavily for video editing and other stuff, then I feel the MacBook Pro might be a better option. But for rest of the users, if you're just going to use it normally for, let's say, chatting or replying to emails, Facebooking and general browsing, then I feel still the MacBook Air is a very capable machine. And I just checked the pricing of this MacBook Air in India at the time of shooting this video. This MacBook Air is costing just around 55,000 as of now in India, whereas this MacBook Pro Touch Bar variant is around 1,35,000. So as you can see, a huge price difference. The non-Touch Bar version of the MacBook Pro 13-inch comes down to about 1,14,000 to 1,15,000. So pretty pricey machines. But this is my, frank opinion between the MacBook Pro 13-inch and the MacBook Air. In terms of performance, if you were thinking that I would have seen a huge performance gain, that was not the case. But again, I had a typical requirement for video editing. That is the reason that I went with the MacBook Pro 13 inches. If you have the MacBook Air or the MacBook Pro 13 inches, maybe what this touch bar edition. Do share your opinions in the YouTube comment section below. And if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video.